Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. Semi-final time for us today over in the Shanghai Masters. We've got two of the best. It shouldn't take that much of our time. Get your comments in with your predictions. Anything that I'm going for today will be in that pinned comment. You're more than welcome to take a look at that. Take it if you want. Leave it if you must. It's entirely up to you. The choice is yours. But do like the video if you'd be so kind. Get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not already. We are on the road to 3k. We continue to grow each and every day. Get yourself involved. It would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. But now all that's out the way, quick recap. Time for the recap. How did we manage in the quarterfinals yesterday? Did we win? Did we lose? Did we just come close? Most importantly, did we enjoy the matches? No dice for me. I ended up with the parlay from hell, is what I'm calling it. Honest to God, Felix and Alex de Minaur. Could I have picked a worse parlay? Could I have picked a worse pair of people to trust in the quarterfinals of a Masters? Probably not. Hey, look, fair play to Rinderknech and Daniel Medvedev, but you have to admit both of those turned up and they didn't look nowhere near as good as what they'd done all week. It happens sometimes. Unfortunately, it happened to me today. I can always live with that. But get yourself involved. Share with the group. Let everyone know. Don't be shy. And we'll get straight into business, folks. Let's waste no more time with it. Let's get it on. For us today is going to be Vacherot. He'll be taking on Djokovic. Now, I'll be honest. If we'd have had this matchup earlier on in the tournament or any other point in the season for that matter, we probably wouldn't have wasted that much time on it. From a betting perspective, that is. But we are in the semi-finals of the Shanghai Masters. I suppose the majority of this will have to go to Vacherot. I mean, you've got to give him credit. You've got to give all the credit to this guy. I, for one, didn't think he'd get this far. Probably not even half the distance that what he's actually got. I imagine that it would be the same for you. You know what? I'd love to ask him. I bet you, if you were to ask him, do you think he'd be sitting here playing Djokovic in the semi-finals? He'd say absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you can't say he doesn't deserve to be here. He's been fantastic. Had a bit of a rough qualifying. Took 3 sets in both of the qualifying matches. Laslo Djere, light work. Alexander Bublik took 3. Mahatch, I mean, I don't know what Thomas Mahatch was doing the night before, but he turned up and looked like absolute shit. But it is what it is. The game against Griekspoor in 3. And then most recently was the match against Holger Rune. Now, he has dropped the first set against Alexander Bublik, Griekspoor and Holger Rune. More impressively, he's managed to come back and, look, it hasn't really mattered who it is, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter who you are. He's dealt with them all the same. He has dealt with them all the same. After dropping that first set against Bublik, he come back 6-3, 6-4. And then the one against Griekspoor and Rune, come back and took a tiebreaker and then finished them off 6-4 in the third and final set. Unbelievable. It's kind of reminded me. Well, it's not reminding me. We've seen quite a bit of this the past few weeks, haven't we? We're there with these qualifiers more. So I always go back to the tournament with Terence Satman was at Cincinnati. It was one of them. There's definitely remnants of the Terence Satman run, even the Valentin Royer one. Although that was at 250, but you still have to admit it was a hell of a bunch of performances from Valentin Royer, absolutely. But then Valentin Vacherot just got to come through qualifying for this, and like I've just said, getting to the semi-finals, I can't believe it. I honestly can't believe it. It's kind of making me think. I wonder, how many more of these guys do we think are just sort of nestled within the top one, well, outside the 100 in the 200, It's kind of makes you wonder what they've been able to do as well. Atman, Royer, most importantly, Valentin Vacherot. How are these guys not ranked higher? You know what I mean? How's it only taken now for these to play this good? Because Valentin Royer, he weren't even in the top 200 before this. Admittingly, he will be ranked a lot higher after this run. I don't know, is it just the Challenger Tour? Like, they kind of reside on the Challenger Tour for the most part, don't they? And is it that the points from the Challenger events just don't cut it anymore? I know they changed them and that. I don't really know exactly how it works, but I think you get a bit more from ATP events now. I think it may be to encourage you to play a few more qualifiers and not just sort of stagnate down the Challenge Tour. That's neither here nor there, but I can't help but wonder how many more there is. Because these have been playing like top 10. These are all like top 10 performances. They really are. Fantastic. You can't take nothing away from Valentin Vacherot. That is the point I want to make in this. But with all that we've seen and with all that's been said, He's a massive dog in this. He's nearly a 5-1 dog. Massive dog. That spread is 4.5. Now against someone like Djokovic, that is a very, very dangerous spread. I'd love to sit here and say with what we've seen from Vacherot, I'm not going to say you'd have to take him, but I wouldn't call you crazy if you wanted to take him. Obviously, he's covered all the spreads in all the matches so far. I don't know about the qualifying ones, but in the main draw, absolutely. Obviously, he has because he's won. And he's been a dog in every single one of them. And now he's the biggest dog against Djokovic. And this is a bit different, isn't it? This is the big one for Vacherot. Not only has he made it this far, but now you've got to play Djokovic in the semi-finals. You know, this isn't some 250. I don't want to take anything away from anyone, but this isn't a 250 where you've beat 2 or 3 shit to beds and now you're playing someone ranked barely in the top 100 in the final. No, absolutely not. Something's different about this one. Djokovic 1.13. 1.13. It feels weird to say that's a bit disrespectful to Valentin Vacherot, but he's been playing decent. It does kind of feel like, if you look at it for what it is on paper, it does feel a little bit disrespectful, but he's played 7 games, man. Has he played 7? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games played for Vacherot compared to the 4 from Djokovic. Now, came out a bit slow against Marin Cilic. We all knew he'd win that. I always say you shouldn't assume things, but I can't help but sit here and think even Djokovic probably went into that one thinking, you know what, I've got this one won. I just need to turn up and execute. Same with Yannick Hanfmann. Now, he kind of struggled. Yannick Hanfmann, as we know, he can be very tricky to deal with on his day, that we know. There was a point in that match where Djokovic looked like he was struggling a bit, especially in the in the stamina department. But you never really end that with Djokovic. Yeah, he's always going to find a way. Managed to get that one done. And then the game against Jamie Munar, once again, you take it for granted. You take it as a given. He's going to win that. It was anything but easy. He once again dropped another set, dropped the second set, managed to come back and just pummel him in the third and final one. And after those 2 performances, you probably sat there. Well, I sat there and thought, maybe he's running a bit on empty. Maybe he ain't got that much left to give. He's playing Zizou Bergs now in the quarterfinals. Zizou Bergs prior to the Djokovic match was absolutely flying. Absolutely flying. He was playing at a very high level. And then Djokovic just turned up and made it look easy. Just when you thought he may have been running on empty. Absolutely not. Just when he needed to, he turned up and looked fantastic. Now maybe Zizou Bergs had a little bit to do with that. Maybe he helped them out a bit. He ain't exactly the most trustworthy. He doesn't exactly hold his nerve at the best of times. But that's neither here nor there. Can we see Djokovic losing this match? Probably not. I don't. And especially now this draw's been blown wide open. Now there's no Jannik Sinner. I can't help but think that Djokovic is sitting there with his eyes entirely on the prize. This is his to lose. I'm convinced this is his title to lose now. You probably wouldn't have thought at the start of the tournament that he was going to be in for the title. He'll get close, but I didn't think he'd take it. I did think it would be Sinner or Alcaraz, providing he were here. But things have changed. And I do believe he's going to win this title. I do. It's madness the level that this guy still performs at this point in his career. I mean, it's Djokovic, am I surprised? Not really. I don't really know how you're going to approach this one, if I'm being honest with you. You're kind of being forced to take the dog on the spread, and like I said, 4.5 against Djokovic is very dangerous, especially with Vacherot. I mean, 7 games in. I don't want to just chalk it off entirely to the fatigue factor, but surely it's bound to come into play sooner than later. That could be a problem. Look, you're dropping that first set to Holger Rune, Greek Sport, and Alexander Bublik. Let's just say he drops the first one. I imagine you're going to drop at least one to Djokovic. Let's be real. Let's assume it's the first one. You get a 6-3 in that first set. Are we completely sold that, one, is he going to be able to mount a comeback and take out Djokovic? And 2, even if he doesn't, if you do drop a 6-3, are you going to get a tiebreaker out of him in that second? He got one out of Rune in Greek Sport. I don't know. I just think Djokovic is a different beast. I really do. Not only is it the game of Djokovic, it's also the presence in it. I feel like that's what a lot of people still suffer with. It's the presence of Djokovic alone. Then again, the more I think about it, I kind of sat here and thought, you know what, maybe lean towards an over. But with that being said, in the same breath, I've literally just said I don't like the 4.5 for Valentin Vacherot. So If he's not going to cover that 4.5, then the game's probably not going to go over. But then again, what is the total? It's going to be very low. It's going to be very low. I don't know, someone let me know what that total is. If it's going to be like 19.5, I might be very, very tempted, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this just be as easy as 1-2 and done for Djokovic. The main question is, how close do you think Valentin Vacherot can keep this one? Is there anyone out there, any takers on Valentin Vacherot today? I mean, looking at the price, 5-1, there's got to be someone. You're probably having a sprinkle on that. I don't blame you if you do. As far as the prediction goes, I'll be expecting Djokovic to get this one. One is going to be Daniel Medvedev. He'll be taking on Artur Rinderknech. It's a decent match. It's a tough one. The pair of these played really well yesterday. They played so good. Crushed my the parlay from hell, as I'm going to call it. Can't take anything away from either one. The question that I've got for you is, what the fuck is going on with Artur Rinderknech? He has been unbelievable. He's been so good. Now, look, I thought Felix turned up and looked shit. I thought Felix looked silly out there against Rinderknech, but with that being said, Artur Rinderknech looked fantastic also. He really did. He was just solid. And you know what? He kind of done exactly what we said he was going to do. He did. I just thought Felix playing the way he was playing prior to that match may have just had a bit more in the bag. But he did not turn up. He's just not built for the occasion. He continues to prove that time and time again. And like I always say, 1.3, that is just the price that you pay for Felix to ruin your day. Let it be known. But fair play to Artur Rinderknech. Not only that, I mean, that's 3 in a row. 3 top 20 wins in a row for Artur Rinderknech. Fantastic. I can't remember ever seeing this version of the Frenchman. Like, I don't really know who this Artur Rinderknech is at the moment. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I tell you what, I think we may have touched on it in the previous video, but if we didn't, or even if we did, I'll just say it again. I think Artur Rinderknech is going to be a big problem once we go indoors. I really do. I think he's going to be a major problem once we hit the indoor courts. That shall remain to be seen. Medvedev may have beat him, may have not. Who knows? Michelsen, too easy for him. Zverev, I mean, after dropping that first set, it was light work. It was. All he needs to do, he doesn't do no more or no less than what he needs to do. He just sort of, well, more so over in Shanghai, he's been able to operate at a very consistent, a very high level, but most importantly, a very consistent level as well. That serve seems to be unshakable at the moment. Zverev in 3, Yuri Lehechka, easy, just dusted him aside, served him out, couldn't do nothing against the power. And then same for Felix. Felix, oh my god, anyone see him trying to return them serves today? They were going in the crowd. Unbelievable. Like I say, fair play to Rinderknech. Too strong, too big, too solid for everyone. For everyone. Does this mean Artur Rinderknech? We said it joking around a few months ago, but is Artur Rinderknech a top 20 player? Realistically, if he can just maintain a level, maintain the fitness, maintain the form. I mean, look at this. This would suggest so to me. It would. Now, you take it how you want, but I, for one, have been very, very impressed with Artur Rinderknech. We looked at the stats yesterday, the tournament averages and whatnot. I'll stick them up again. And he was absolutely hammering Felix in the averages, and it's more of the same against Medvedev today. Now, I ain't got too much to say about him. Done exactly what I thought he'd do in the first couple of games. Zvesina, nothing. It was like playing against nothing. Davidovich Fokina, it was a bit of a tougher task, as it's always going to be, but I was never in much doubt he was going to lose that one. The match against Rinderknech, it was all but a carbon copy. It was basically just a carbon copy of the previous matchup. Only difference being Medvedev, Medvedev ended up winning this one right at the end. And then the match against De Minaur. Now, prior to the match against De Minaur, based on what I seen against Rinderknech, I was very, very concerned about Daniel Medvedev once again in the fitness department. But boy, did he have me fooled, because he turned up, and not only did he look solid against the Demon, which he's done every single time, but Alex De Minaur once again gets the quarterfinals on the big stage when the heat is on, the stakes are high. This guy just shits himself, don't he? This guy just shits the bed all the time, and it's for the most part, I never doubt the ability of Alex De Minaur. He truly is one of the best on the tour, but whether it's a mental issue or what, maybe it's just Medvedev. No, that head-to-head, it weren't very promising going into it, but you know, it is what it is. De Minaur, big favourite in that, stood no chance. Maybe it was to be expected, maybe it weren't. But like I said, after what I've seen against TN, I didn't fancy taking the chance on on Medvedev against the unlimited gas tank of Alex de Minaur, but it didn't seem to matter. It didn't seem to matter one bit. And here we stand in the semi-finals, and I think this one is going to be quite different than the previous matchup would do. I'm just going to use the same formula. The odds are pretty much identical. Pretty much identical. Getting Medvedev around 1.3, 1.35. Now that and Djokovic today, two massive favourites. There ain't a lot of value, if any. Well, there's no value at all. You're going to have to side with the dogs, I imagine. You're kind of being pushed to side with the dogs today. Out of the two of them, I suppose I wouldn't mind Rinderknech once again. The only thing being, I think the spread on this one's 2.5. You can get that at plus money at the moment on 365 for Rinderknech. If it was 3.5, I'd be very tempted once again. We said it against Felix, and he ended up just smoking him in straight sets. He could have took a minus 3.5. Now he plays Medvedev. I'm still concerned about the fitness. I'm still concerned because you just never know with Medvedev. He looks great, and then he looked awful against Leonard Tien, and then he turned up against the Demon, he looks great. You're looking at him at 1.3 in this, and you're probably thinking, you know what, he's probably just going to win this one easy if he turns up and looks shit, or if he just struggles against Rinderknech. If Rinderknech can keep this close, which I believe he most definitely can, even if he takes a set, what's that going to do? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see, aren't we? I don't know what I'd do with this one. Like I said, if I could get Rinderknech at 3.5, I'd be very tempted to take that. I think that's very doable. Very doable with the current game he's managing to put in. But it is Medvedev after all. It is Medvedev. And if Medvedev turns up and plays at a very high level, not even a high level, just a higher level than Rinderknech, will you be that surprised when all's said and done? Probably not. Probably not. For the sake of the prediction, I probably would. Probably would. Actually, I don't know. I'd probably just lean towards Rinderknech on that spread, providing you can get 3.5. Medvedev 1.3. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. I don't even know what you'd parlay with that for today. There may be some qualifying matches on or whatever, but it's not really any of our business over in Shanghai. Say Medvedev should be getting it done. If it was any other time, they've played each other once before. That was back in 2022 in the US Open. Quite a routine for win Medvedev. Obviously, things have changed since then. Things have most definitely changed. Medvedev just turns up and does what he does. Rinderknech, you have to admit, he's playing 10 times better. He's doing so much more than what he's done all season this week. I ain't seen him play nowhere near this good. Well, not even nowhere near this good. Nowhere near this consistent. Back to back to back, top 20 wins. Wouldn't probably be that surprised if he gets another. I don't know. This one really could go either way. Give a bit more respect to Rinderknech. Maybe take him for a set. Look at him on the spread if you can get a decent one with him. But I'll just we'll leave it there. Once again, another day in the bag. I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for watching the show. Like and subscribe before you go. I'd appreciate that too. We're very well. It's been a pleasure. It always is. I'll be seeing you around. You take it easy. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Make sure you let me know what you're going for. If you're going for anything. If there's anything I'm going for, it'll be in that pinned comment. I'm not too sure if there's anything I fancy today, if I'm being honest with you. But get yourself involved. Don't be shy. And best of luck to you. I wish you the best of luck. As always, however you decide to go about your business, have yourself a good day. And I'll see you tomorrow.